Today we're going to be taking a look at NetApp's On-Command System Manager. It's kind of a GUI interface for configuring and monitoring your NetApp storage. So all we're going to do is, after installation, we're going to double-click the shortcut for System Manager. And I haven't configured mine yet, so let's go through that. So I've got two options, Discover or Add. I'm going to Add. I'm just going to give it the IP address of my filer and the passwords, username and password. So I'll type that in here, and then I'm just going to give it the root password. That's up to you whether that's something you're going to give System Manager. Some people like to create their own. I'll just give it root for now. This is a test box. Now remember, this only adds the one controller. Now if I wanted to add 20 controllers, for instance, and they're all on the same IP space, I'd just put a starting address and say Discover. And it's going to start from 100 and start hitting anybody it can see on that subnet. Now what you're going to see here is I'm going to come back with all of my interfaces, because he'll see all my network interfaces. So take a look at this serial number field here, and if they're the same, you don't want to add them all, obviously. So you just want to pick the one for the interface you're going to add. Alright, let's take a look. Now that we've got this added, we'll just double click it, and we'll log in with our root password here. And here it is. It's pretty nice, pretty simple. Just a little GUI, shows you storage capacity, you know, your aggregates, how much free space you have available, some basic properties, how many disks, how many spares, you know, just real basic information on this front page. We can drill into performance as well and watch real-time performance. My box is a lab box, it's idle, so we're not going to see anything, but be aware that that's there. So now we can kind of use the drop-downs and navigate through here. So if we want to look at our volumes, see how many volumes we have, what their names are, available space, we can create a volume from here, give it a size, thin provision, all pretty clear GUI. It's not too difficult. You can create a thin provision volume. You can set the volume for dedupe here. Compression here if you want to. All that's right here. Kind of a nice little GUI for creating a volume. Easier than CLI, that's for sure. We can look at whatever shares we have doled out. So that's our CIFS shares. You can see that we've got the Etsy directory, home directory. There's our NFS exports. So anything we've got via NFS. You can look at your quotas if you have any, your queue trees if you have any, your aggregates, which is also another nice section, all your real base information there, how many disks you have, what size they are, what their location is, or their name in other words, what aggregate they're assigned to, shelf and bay if you have them. You can go through create users from here. You can look at your groups. All pretty nice to be able to do here. You can also look at your network information. So if you have DNS, or if you want to know what your IPs are for all your network interfaces, you'll find that here. You can change that. You can create new ones. You can look at your host file, which is nice. Another thing that's used a lot in NetApp. Network information server if you need that. You can also take a look at the protocols like CIFS, some basic information there. NFS, whether it's enabled. You can point it to new password servers, SSH settings, you can set all that up. Your auto supports, you can enable those or disable those here, which is another nice feature. I'm going to disable mine real quick since it's a lab. Set your date and time. You can take a look at your licenses. You can configure your SNMP settings, NDMP. All of that is right here on your configuration screen. We can also even reboot the system, which is a little scary, but it kind of assumes you know what you're doing. So you could reboot it from here if support's telling you to do that. You can also take a look at diagnostics. Since this is a lab box, it's dead, so we're not going to see anything here. I'll just hit OK. But one thing to be aware of is you can see any of your CIFS statistics or session-based statistics, client-based statistics you can see in real time here. You can also see like your system alerts if you have a drive fail, you know, stuff like that is here. You can also look at your logs. Your syslog is here. So these are errors and things that were logged over to the syslog, your audit log, if you can take a look at what people have actually done, created volumes, whatever it may be, you can look at those. That's all right from here. So overall, a pretty cool little way to get into your NetApp. It's easier than CLI, but obviously not as full-featured. There's also some options here you can play with if you want to change your logging level, clear your passwords, simple stuff like that. You can also do a quick test on your network configuration. Kind of cool. You can pick your filer and check if it has a mismatch problem with its RC file. We have no mismatch here, which is what we'd expect. Pretty cool overall, actually. So we're going to get into a little more detail about System Manager and NetApps in general and in different sessions here, but at least you have an overview of what System Manager does and what it might do for you out in the field. Certainly helpful for if you're servicing a NetApp and maybe you aren't familiar with the command line. You can always install System Manager on your laptop, connect to the filer, and bring all the information into System Manager temporarily so you can take a look at some of the settings, and maybe they need you to create some volume, something like that. You can do that in a GUI if you're not familiar with the CLI. Alright, thank you for watching. See you next time.